Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Prime Sports World. Hold on this 1 second. All right, let's start this over. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Prime Sports World. Thank you very much for joining us as we are going to be breaking down the start of NFL free agency position by position, breaking down everything for you. I'm David On Point. TJ Hopkins, CEO of Prime Sports World, Israel Rivera joining me as well. If you're looking for consistent content on all your streaming platforms from YouTube to Facebook, Prime Sports World is your number one place. Go live 4 or 5 times a week, bringing the most up-to-date content. Also want to thank our friends over there at Rouge Bear for sponsoring us here at Prime Sports World. Drop the link to their website on our YouTube channel, along with the NFL Supreme Facebook page and our Facebook page as well. Gentlemen, NFL free agency is almost underway. We got some really big names that are poised to be free agency let me see when the exact start of free agency is. March 16th, so less than a month away from the start of free agency. So what are you guys thinking? What's your guys' vibes on like free agency so far? Just in general, what are you guys thinking?
I don't care till something happens. Like I don't care about at this point. I don't care about the rumors. I don't care about who fits where. Until something happens, I don't care. Right? Like because at this point, it's just the talk. It's just what we doing. It's a talking point.
Yeah.
Like I don't until something actually happens. I don't really care.
Well, as many of you know, I love this stuff. So I am very excited about free agency, and I'm very excited to talk about free agency, where players can end up, and what could be their best fit, and who is the best available free agents when it comes to each particular position in each particular class. But yeah, let's talk about that most important position in the NFL. Izzy, before we move on, any thoughts on free agency before you jump into it?
Look, no, honestly, I have the same sentiments as TJ. I mean, it's all
you guys are crazy.
hearsay, right? No. I mean, I'm not crazy. I'm just saying, like nothing's happened. So, I mean, it's just like all hearsay. But I mean, until something happens, I'll get excited, But right now, yeah, it's all good.
All right, fair enough. So moving into the first part of NFL free agency, we got probably the most important position in the National Football League. We got those quarterbacks. Those are the list of the top 10 free agent quarterbacks. I will list them: Jameis Winston, Teddy Bridgewater, Tyrod Taylor, Cam Newton, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Marcus Mariota, Jacoby Brissett, Andy Dalton, Mitch Trubisky, and Joe Flacco rounds out the top 10. Of those names that I just read off, which do you think is the most intriguing, and who do you think has the most left in the tank? And who's the best player of these 10?
I don't care because first off, who came up with this list?
This list was put together by Pro Football Network.
Focus?
Because whoever the hell has Joe Flacco in their top 10 anything.
Well, I mean, there aren't
Backup
a ton.
quarterback.
I mean, there aren't a ton of available free agents. I mean, we're talking Colt McCoy. We're talking Geno Smith. This is the guys that were after him on this particular list. We got Chad Henne, Mike Glennon, Trevor Siemian, Blaine Gabbert, Geno Smith, Brett Rippon, Josh Johnson, Joshua Dobbs, Kyle Allen, Nick Mullins. I'd rather have Joe Flacco than all of those guys. Right?
That's not saying much.
That's a backup.
Yeah, sure. But
as a backup, yeah.
I mean,
right.
Yeah, I'd rather have Joe Flacco than any of those guys I just listed outside of maybe Kyle Allen, if he can ever recover from his injuries.
That's literally not saying a damn thing.
But those are the free agents. That's who's available. Like we can get it. We're going to talk about trades. We talked about trades already in a previous show. I mean, these are the people that are available. You can outright sign without having to trade for. Which of these names on this list are intriguing to you? Who do you think has the highest upside available?
No. Jameis is hurt. We know what Teddy is. Tyrod, he can't stay healthy past 2 games. They all but retired Cam Newton. Ryan Fitzpatrick just had a hip replacement. Marcus Mariota is trash. Jacoby Brissett, same thing, can't stay healthy. Andy Dalton, we know what he is. Trubisky, you spelled his name wrong. We know what he is. And Flacco just needs to hang it up.
Okay, hold on. All right, so I'm a glass, kind of full, half full, empty, whatever the fuck.
No, you're not.
Whatever it is. All right, hold on. I'm gonna say out of all these guys, I'm actually got a lot of faith in Mitch Trubisky. I wonder where he goes.
Based on what?
I'm serious. I don't care. I'm calling it. He sat his butt behind Josh Allen for a year.
Wow.
I'm telling you, I think Mitch Trubisky has some potential. I think he has some potential. I think the new fresh start is gonna help this kid propel his career. So I'm not down on Mitch Trubisky yet. He's still young. He's still got a lot of talent. We all know that Matt Nagy was not a good developer at the quarterback position, as we've seen, because he couldn't develop Mitch Trubisky, and he sure as hell didn't do a good job with Justin Fields because he had his job.
Hey, we can acknowledge two things can be true. Matt Nagy ain't do his job, but Trubisky ain't help him out either.
It's true.
Well, at least.
Anyways, outside of Mitchell, I still think Marcus Mariota, because remember he had that like weird arm injury where he couldn't feel his fingers. He seems to be much more healthy now. I know he was only used in gadget situations in Las Vegas, but I think there could be something still there, and I think a team could use him as their backup quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater's an excellent backup. Jameis Winston, if he was healthy, he'd be the most intriguing prospect on this entire list.
Absolutely,
but he's not. This is not exactly a treasure trove of free agency quarterback position, but this is the list, and this is what it is. The Pro Football Focus, just for your curiosity, TJ, has basically the same list. They got what is he? 1, Jameis Winston; 2, Teddy Bridgewater; 3, Marcus Mariota; 4, Andy Dalton; 5, Ryan Fitzpatrick; 6, Trubisky; 7, Jacoby Brissett; 8, Tyrod Taylor; 9, Geno Smith and Colt McCoy rounds out of the top 10. And yeah, they did not have Joe Flacco in their top 10 of quarterbacks available as free agents. But
still trash. Anyway,
if you're a team that needs a quarterback and you think you're going to get one in free agency, I would probably have a backup plan.
Basically, we already know what everybody is waiting on. We already know what domino everybody is waiting on to fall. That's literally it. Well, it's like 2 dominoes. So
well, if he continues posting crazy shit on Instagram, I mean,
well, there's 3. It's actually really 3 dominoes because you got Aaron Rodgers,
Jimmy G.
Nobody's doing anything until Aaron Rodgers.
No, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, and Carson Wentz.
Well, I threw Jimmy
Ryan too.
I threw Jimmy Garoppolo in there because the Colts will be an absolute fool to move off of Carson Wentz.
I agree with you, Jay. I think they have no plan B. Like there's nobody on the roster that could start at quarterback. They don't have a first round pick.
Check it out.
To get anybody at quarterback.
If I'm the Steelers or if I'm the Redskins, okay. The Steelers and the Commanders. I'm sorry, the Commanders. It's going to take me a long time. I would look at Mitch Trubisky. I'm telling you guys, I would look at Mitch Trubisky. I still believe in his potential, even though I hated him when he was a Bear because that was my stance. But I still believe in his ability. I think he needed a new fresh start. I think Matt Nagy was not good at developing him. I think Matt Nagy threw him under the bus a bunch of times. Didn't take the blame for his play calling style. And so I think if he goes to the Commanders or he goes to the Steelers, I think he might have a shot at doing something good, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion, and it probably sucks. But whatever.
I
mean, I don't hate it. I mean, he does have potential.
Let's say he goes to either one of those 2 teams. It's not like he has stiff competition to beat out. You know, like if
the Steelers are talking about.
If Trubisky goes to Pittsburgh and he can't beat out Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins, then he should probably reconsider his career choice.
And if he goes to the Commanders, if he can't beat out what? Who's on the Commanders?
Tyler Heineke, and I mean that's about it right now.
Tyler Heineke, and that's what I'm saying.
So, how Fitzpatrick is going to be coming off of a broken hip.
I think.
And the Carolina Panthers, and then we're talking about the Carolina Panthers as well. I mean, they're still.
I think they're going to roll with Sam Darnold for 1 season. I think they're just going to we're just going to eat our losses and we're just going to roll with it. They're probably going to
draft the quarterback next year. Yeah, and then draft the quarterback in that rich class next year.
All right, from the plethora of outstanding quarterbacks to make up the top 10 free agencies from the quarterback position, we swing into wide receivers, where there are a plethora of good wide receivers. On the other hand, Devontae Adams leads this class. Chris Godwin up an ACL tear. Mike Williams, Odell Beckham Jr. coming off an ACL tear.
Which still hasn't been confirmed.
Whatever. Something happened to him.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying they still haven't came out and said.
All right, Odell Beckham Jr. is dealing with some sort of injury. I don't know what it is. Michael Gallup tore his ACL as well. Yo, man, if you're gonna cook, can you mute your mic?
There you go.
Michael Gallup tore his ACL 2. Number 6, Allen Robinson. 7, Christian Kirk. 8, Juju Smith-Schuster enters free agency after 1 year re-signing with Pittsburgh. DJ Clark Jr. Number 9, and Emmanuel Sanders rounds out the top 10. Gentlemen,
Yeah.
what do we think about the free agency class for the wide receivers?
This is intriguing, even with the guys who are hurt, right? Like I think Chris Godwin got hurt in a timetable where he's not going to miss the entirety of the season.
If he comes back in November, I think that would be a good outlook. That would be a good outlook for him.
Same with Michael Gallup, right? Like
Michael Gallup tore his in week 11 or 12. So in theory, he should be good to go.
About the same time as Chris Godwin.
October.
Yeah, something like that. Somewhere around the same time.
September, October.
He got injured in week 17.
Oh, it's like the last week of the season.
So,
8-9 months from now. Well, 8-9 months from then, I should say.
So a guy named Burr, FYI. Okay.
About the same timetable.
So let's talk about the big boy here. Let's talk about Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is potentially going to become the highest paid receiver in the history of the NFL. He's completely worth it. But where do you think he resigns with Green Bay? Do you think he gets franchise tag? What do you think happens with Devontae Adams?
Well, I think he already said he links his career in Green Bay to whatever 12 does. So 12.
But if he gets franchise tagged, he's not going to have. His options are going to be a little slim.
That's true. If player mobility is what they say it is,
this isn't the NBA. You don't. If you're unhappy, you don't automatically get traded. Russell Wilson's been unhappy for 3 seasons. He's still there.
Did we not did we not see Antonio Brown force his way out of?
Yeah, but that situation that's not a lot. Yeah, let's not.
He forced his way out. Did he not force his way out?
Okay.
He did it. I don't think Devontae Adams.
He wasn't playing on the franchise tag, and he was for sure.
No, that, which makes his that much more worse because all he had to do was keep his mouth shut, and his contract was guaranteed. So he lost money.
Devontae Adams, if he gets franchise tagged, he will pay out the highest paid salary for one season for a wide receiver ever, and it will be fully guaranteed.
But if you're Devontae Adams, again, we talk about this all the time. What more do I have to do to show you that I'm worth max money? I've led.
There's no question that he's worth max money. But
if
Aaron Rodgers leaves and the Packers are just like, we still want you, so we're just going to tag you so you can't go anywhere else unless the team's willing to give up 2 first-round picks for you. I think that would hamstring where he'd be able to go, at least for one season.
My thing is this: with Devontae Adams, he did kind of shoot himself in the foot when he made that statement. If Aaron Rodgers is not here, he all but said if Rodgers is not here, I'm not gonna be here. And I despise the people who say Devontae Adams can fit anywhere. Really, he could, because we saw, although it was one game, we saw Jordan Love trying to throw to Devontae Adams against the Chiefs. Devontae Adams ain't looked that good. Jordan Love ain't looked that good.
Devontae Adams is definitely benefited by the fact that he has a Hall of Fame quarterback throwing to him.
Oh, absolutely. But there's been rumors of them possibly trading Jordan Love for a pick in this year's draft.
What seems more likely is they may trade Aaron Rodgers for a couple picks.
Who's going to give up draft capital for a guy who can't get on the field? I'm not
trading. Well, he ain't getting on the field because he's behind a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Don't matter.
All right, so Devontae Adams aside, looking at the rest of the list, who do you think could be a dark horse, really, really low key, sneaky signing that could be the best receiver in this group right here?
It's Allen Robinson. For the simple, think about it, Allen Robinson wasn't hurt. He wasn't hurt. He just didn't play for whatever reason. He just wasn't.
I know Allen Robinson. You say Allen Robinson. I'm gonna go with Mike Williams.
I'm gonna go Mike Williams too. I'm not sure it's close. Allen Robinson, I know he was unhappy in Chicago and he was noticeably checked out. But Mike Williams has so much upside. I would be shocked if the Chargers let him go anywhere. Like they
Yeah,
let him.
no,
I'm pretty sure he's a restricted free agent, anyways. I don't think he can just
he had
walk away.
1,000 yards last year, right? He had 1,000
I
yards
don't think
last year,
so.
right?
Actually, I think he came
Close
just
to it.
short because of injuries.
Just short. Okay, but he's a stud wide receiver. He's a big body. He's like him and Keenan Allen on the field are money. I mean, we're talking about. The
Mike Williams did have
Chargers could
1,000
have
yards.
the Chargers
He
if
had
they would have played
Yeah,
it right.
1,146. I was completely wrong.
If
He
the
was the
Chargers would
12th
have played
highest
it right,
receiver.
if the Chargers would have played it right, they would have been in the playoffs this past season, right? So I mean,
Yeah,
you talk
true.
about a playoff team. So yeah, I mean, you want to bring Mike Williams back with a young quarterback like Justin Herbert, but he has potential. He has a lot of potential, man.
And of the guys that are injured, which would you be looking to sign of the injured three guys? We're just gonna say Odell. Whatever he's dealing with. Chris
Odell.
Godwin, Odell, or Michael Gallup.
Odell.
Odell, yeah, Odell.
I think Odell
I
as
don't think
well. I mean, I think he's got the higher ceiling than all those other guys.
And honestly, and he's got the lesser, injury, right? So those other two
I
guys
mean,
further
We
stuff,
don't
right?
like
Odell.
is he like we don't know.
So let me tell you 11 through 20, just on this website, and you guys tell me the guy you want to have if you're going to pick one guy. So 11, Jacoby Myers; 12, AJ Green; Alan Lazar's 13; Will Fuller 14; Sammy Watkins 15; Zach Pascal 16; Khalif Raymond 17; Russell Gage 18; John Ross 19; Albert Wilson 20. Of all the people on this list, who's the guy that you would want on your team? Of those 10 guys,
Who was number 14 again? You said? I think it was
Will
like 13.
Fuller.
Will Fuller. That's the guy I want.
Shit, probably him.
Yeah, that's the guy.
My issue with Will Fuller is not him being hurt. Like he can't stay out of fucking trouble.
It's Russell Gage for me. I'm not sure it's that close. I don't trust anybody else on this list. Jacoby Myers is a nice player, but AJ Green has been sort of injured. Alan Lazar has been not good in Green Bay. Will Fuller cannot stay on the field to save his life, no matter if he's getting suspended or if he's getting injured.
Healthy, yeah.
Sammy Watkins,
but when he's healthy, he's money though. When he's healthy, he can trust the field.
Yeah, but give me Russell Gage. He's been super consistent over the last 3 seasons or last 2 seasons.
And he's a good slot receiver. You could put him. You could virtually do a lot of things with him.
Yeah.
So run him on jet sweeps or whatever screens, all that type of stuff.
Moving on from there, we got the free agent running backs. Lombardi Lenny is the number 1. 2, Melvin Gordon. 3, Chase Edmonds. 4, Cordell Patterson, who had himself a whale of a season there in Atlanta. 5, James Conner, who led the league in rushing touchdowns, even though he missed 3 games this season. 6, Raheem Mostert. Really nice story when the San Francisco 49ers went to the Super Bowl. Couldn't stay healthy this season. Basically got replaced by Davion or whatever. Elijah Mitchell.
Elijah Mitchell, yeah.
7, J.D. McKissick. 8, Sony Michel. 9, Alex Collins. And 10 is David Johnson. These guys on this list, who do you think is the most valuable, and who would you want on your team?
Number 4.
I'm gonna go with Alex. No, I'm just playing.
Number 4.
I saw David's eyes roll behind his head. I saw David's eyes roll behind his head when I said Alex. I'm gonna actually go. Out of all these guys, yeah. Number 4, Cordell Patterson. He's a jack of all trades. But also, I like Chase Edmonds, man. I like Chase Edmonds a lot, man. He can be that change of pace guy. He can also, run between the tackles sometimes. But he's getting you more out of the backfield in terms of as a receiver than anything. So,
for me, I think it's Cordell Patterson. I think he gives you more versatility at the running back position. It's also I also was really impressed with James Conner, and I wouldn't be sleeping on Raheem Mostert. Like, the dude was awesome when he was healthy, and he's gotten a season where he didn't have to have that wear and tear on his body. He's going to come back fresh. I look for Raheem Mostert to sign with the team and be productive next season. But if I want one guy on this list on my team, it's Cordell Patterson.
And here's where Matt Nagy don't get enough credit, because we didn't start seeing Cordell Patterson in the backfield, like not like that, until Nagy started. Like Minnesota did it, but it was like more like motions. And toss motions to him, like they run him in the backfield, and they toss it to him that way. No, Matt Nagy literally was the one who started lining him up in the backfield, turning around and handing the ball to him. The reason it didn't work is because we had one of the worst offensive lines in the history of offensive lines. If Rashad Coward is blocking for you, you're not going to get.
Of the running backs on this list, who would you want your team to avoid? If you're a GM, be like, yeah, I can't sign that guy.
I think I said his name earlier. I said his name.
It's Alex Collins. Alex Collins for me. He was the lead back on a Seattle Seahawks team and literally was not good at all. And not to
he
mention
and he
their
was getting banged
offensive
up
line
all
isn't
the
any good,
time.
but yeah, banged up all the time. He plays the
Well,
Alex Collins for me.
he was averaging like 2 yards a pop.
Like real talk, it is a tie between him and David Johnson because
Yeah.
Yeah.
for obvious
Yeah,
reasons.
because 1 through 8, they all have value. I mean, Sonny Michel showed his value in LA. J.D. McKissick showed his value in Kansas City, if I'm not mistaken. Raheem Mostert, I mean, he had a
J.D.
down year.
McKissick, I think, was on the Washington football team last
Oh,
year.
Washington
But
football
he was
team,
still
I'm sorry.
valuable there. So
Yeah, I thought it was KC. I'm
you're thinking
the other guy.
of
You know who I'm thinking of. You know who I'm thinking of.
his name is
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
escaping me.
Yeah, it's totally escaping me. Yeah, and so I think everybody here has value except
Jarek McKinnon.
those
Jarek
last
McKinnon.
two.
Yeah,
Jarek McKinnon. There we go. Jarek McKinnon. Yeah, Jarek McKinnon. My bad. Yeah, but yeah, Alex Collins, David Johnson. Yeah, they probably should be out the league by now. I mean, they're probably good third street running backs. Maybe I don't know.
All right, so there's also a second tier of this. So they do 20 free agents. I only listed 10. Of these 10 guys, who would you want on your team? Darrell Williams, the Kansas City Chiefs, Ronald Jones, Rashad Penny, Jarek McKinnon, Latavius Murray, Devontae Freeman, Boston Scott, Dante Foreman, Justin Jackson, and Devin Coleman. And fun fact about Devin Coleman, I actually go to the gym with his dad.
Oh,
Deontay Foreman.
Yeah,
Right.
Devin Coleman's dad goes to the gym that I go to, and we sometimes sit in the sauna together.
Yeah, Deontay Foreman. For me.
who is number 12 or 13? Who is number 12 or 13?
Ronald Jones and Rashad Penny. I'm taking
There we
Rashad
go,
Penny.
Ronald Jones.
Rashad Penny really came on towards the end of the season. Really, if you had him in your fantasy team, you probably want a title because Rashad Penny went off. Give me Rashad Penny.
I'm going with Ronald Jones.
I'm going with Deontay Foreman.
Moving on from there, we got our top 10 tight end free agents. We got Mike Gesicki, number 1, 2, Bobby Schultz's cousin. Dalton Schultz, 3, David Njoku, 4, Rob Gronkowski, 5, Zach Ertz, 6, CJ Uzoma, 7, Jared Cook, 8, Evan Ingram, 9, Max Williams, and 10, OJ Howard. If you were a team, which of those free agent tight ends are you going to target and why?
Obviously, the guy who's won because he's producing. Gronk could retire. We don't know what Njoku is. Dalton Schultz is Zach Ertz need to hang him up too.
Dalton Schultz is Bobby Schultz's cousin. I'm sorry.
Bobby Schultz's cousin, Dalton Schultz. But,
CJ Uzoma, I guess the jury's still out about him. Jared Cook up there in the age too. Evan Ingram got concrete hands.
Or Butterfingers.
Concrete hands. Same thing. Concrete hands.
Same shit. You right.
Max Williams got hurt, and that's the reason that the Cardinals traded for Zach Ertz. And not to mention he was like wildly unproductive. And OJ Howard
OJ Howard hasn't separated himself from the other guys on the
Cameron Brate or Robert, like an 80-year-old Rob Gronkowski and Cameron Brate.
He went and got Gronk out of retirement to come back and play over you.
Yeah, it's definitely the top 2 guys. It's definitely the top 2 guys for me, in my opinion. But if you want to take a swing on David Njoku, I mean, he's a freak athlete. He's a guy that, I mean, you can also attribute, like, maybe he needs a change of scenery, just like Odell did to get out of Cleveland.
I agree with you on that, on the David Njoku thing. But for me, it's Mike Gesicki. I think the dude, I think he's a really good tight end. I think he's Jimmy Graham type. Like, I think he's that good. Like, he really can be that good if they really decide to feature him in their offense. Fun fact about Mike Gesicki, he played 85% of the snaps in 2021, lined up either the slot or out wide as a wide receiver. He almost never played as the actual tight end position.
And David Njoku could probably do the same thing. Like, he played 16 games. He played all 16 last year. He started 11. He only had 36 catches, 475 yards, and 4 touchdowns. I don't know if that's an indictment on him or Baker Mayfield.
We've seen how Baker Mayfield. So let's go through 11 through 20 real quick and just see if any of these guys are somebody you'd want on your team. 11, Tyler Conklin. Gerald Everett is number 12. Hayden Hurst, 13. Will Dissly, 14. Mo Alley Cox, 15. Don Thomas, 16. Jordan Akins, 17. Durham Smythe, 18. Ricky Seals-Jones, 19. And Jeff Swaim is number 20 from the Tennessee Titans.
Do that again.
12.
Tyler Conklin, Gerald Everett, Hayden Hurst, Will Dissly, Mo Alley Cox, Ian Thomas. I don't believe I'm pronouncing that first name correctly. Jordan Akins, Durham Smythe, Ricky Seals-Jones, and Jeff Swaim. Any of those guys pique your interest?
I'm gonna go with 11. I'm gonna go with 11 and 12. Both of those guys, right there.
I'll take Gerald Everett. The dude was at times the most reliable wide receiver Seattle had last season. So I'll take Gerald Everett.
And Tyler Conklin showed himself a little bit. When Minnesota was pretty thin in the tight end corps, he showed out. A game or two. But he's a guy that's pretty much a red zone threat, in my opinion. He's not a guy who's the young guy that's
Irv Smith Jr.
Irv Smith Jr.
He did not play this season.
Did not play this season due to injury. I think he's due for a bounce back season next year. But he's a guy. Irv Smith Jr. is a guy that has all the tools to be a great tight end. I mean, he reminds me a little bit like Vernon Davis, in my opinion.
I can see that.
Just do a little bit of anything. Yeah. So,
DJ, any of those tight ends tickle your fancy?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, you could say Hayden Hurst, but I think he missed. He missed like 4 games. He only played in 13. He started 5. Not to mention Atlanta was just
not that good
fire all season. So it's kind of hard to judge him on a team that was just bad.
Yeah, totally agree with you. So let's move on to the offensive lineman, top free agents, offensive lineman. We got Teron Armstead at tackle, Ryan Jensen center, Orlando Brown Jr. tackle, Braden Sheriff guard, Lakin Tomlinson is a guard, Dwayne Brown tackle, Connor Williams a guard, Ben Jones center, Jason Peters a tackle, and Trent Brown a tackle. Of those guys on that list, who would you prefer your team to sign as somebody who's a Bear fan and wants someone to sign some of these guys?
Any of them better than Rashad Carter.
Any of them. Rashad Carter ain't been here. Rashad Carter ain't been here in like 2 years, and I'm still pissed off about it.
I knew he was gonna bring that up. Hey, before we start making, shout out to Lakin Tomlinson, Chicago kid, proud and joy of Lane Tech High School on the north side. Just want to throw that out there.
It's hard to. Well, first off, I got to see where Jason Peters is, where he how he's feeling. Because there are talks of him retiring
because he's 40.
I'm surprised. No, when you said Trent Brown, you know who I was thinking of? I was thinking of Trent Williams. I'm like, no, I'm like, hell.
Yeah, Trent Williams just signed like a crazy max.
He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
The Saints the Saints have no choice, right? Like they are in salary cap hell. I don't think they can afford to keep Teron Armstead.
I mean, you can always find a way to keep your own guys. So where there's a will, there's absolutely a way.
We'll see. Anyway, same thing with the Chiefs. I traded first round capital for.
I actually thought that like an extension was part of that trade, and I'm surprised that he's on this list. But
I'm actually gonna go. If I wanted a lineman on here. I know Teron Armstead. He's awesome and stuff, but I'm gonna go with Zeus Jr. Man. I think Big Zeus Jr. is my guy in this list.
I'm gonna go Ryan Jensen. I think you need that tough nosed center guy who calls all your shots on the offensive line, makes all the scheme calls. Yeah, give me Ryan Jensen.
So you can't go wrong with 1, 2, or 3 if the Chiefs
and 4. Brandon Sheriff is gonna be
top 4. You can't go wrong with 1 through 4. If especially
really 1 through 5. Lakin Thompson's not bad.
Yeah. Like if the Chiefs let Orlando Brown walk, like that's a left tackle just out there on the market. We already saw what Pat Mahomes looked like without a premier offensive line. He was running for his life in the Super Bowl. I get it. He was in the Super Bowl, but he stood absolutely zero chance with that offensive line that they had out there.
I got a personal story about Lakin Thompson. I actually competed against him in the shot put in the city for track and field. Just want to throw that out there. He's a beast.
So before we move on to the defensive side of the football, of the offensive players that we've discussed, who do you think is the best available free agency at all positions? Best available free agent. Is it Devontae Adams? Is that a consensus? Devontae Adams the best free agent on the offensive side of the football?
It's got to be Devontae Adams. I mean, even though it's got to be Devontae. He's restricted, right? So
it's like my logic is it don't matter who my weapons are if my quarterback can't get him the ball. So for me, it's one of these linemen, whether it's Armstead or Jensen, they're tied for first for me because they allow the quarterback to do their job. What good is me having Devontae Adams if my quarterback is running for his life by the time he snapped the ball?
I mean, we learned that in the Super Bowl. I mean, Joe Burrow had a wide open Jamar Chase. If he had just had a couple more seconds to make that throw, they would have won the Super Bowl. He didn't have that time. They didn't win the Super Bowl. Funny how that works out.
But if you trade Devontae Adams,
I think it's probably Devontae Adams.
if you
Moving
trade
on.
Devontae Adams, I'm not gonna like disagree with you. That's just my thinking.
Moving on from the offensive side of the football to the defensive side of the football, and moving on to our defensive tackles. Top 10 free agents. We got DJ Jones, Akeem Hicks, BJ Hill, Calais Campbell, Quentin Jefferson, Solomon Thomas, Linval Joseph, Sheldon Richardson, Jaron Reed, and Malik Jackson. Of those names, who do you think is the best free agent available, and who would you want your team to sign as a free agent?
I'm just going. I might be biased when I say Akeem Hicks does not get the love and recognition that he deserves.
Yeah, Akeem Hicks is a monster, man.
Akeem Hicks does not get the love and recognition that he adequately deserves.
The only reason he's not number one is because he's a little injury prone. In my opinion, that's the only reason why he's probably not number one, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Akeem Hicks too. He's just a guy. Akeem Hicks is a space eater, man. He'll take up two guys and give your edge rusher some wiggle room to operate.
I can't argue with that. Akeem Hicks, like you saw what his production was when he had Khalil Mack on the other side. Like that was a dominant 1-2 punch on an defensive line as there was in the National.
And I know one dude who gonna be happy to not see Akeem Hicks in the Bears uniform. His name is Dalvin Cook. Cause like not all jokes aside, like if the Bears lose, I think that's if the Bears lose Akeem Hicks, it's a troubling sign, but it's also not one of those like I'm not too worried about it because that's why you have an Eddie Goldman and that's why you have a Bilal Nichols. That's why you you sure up on depth for that reason. Not to mention, as he said it, Akeem Hicks does have a bit of an injury history, whether it's nagging or long term. I fully expect Calais Campbell to. He got to be having that talk. He's late. He's up there in age, man.
I think he might be 40.
Yeah, he got to be having that talk. Solomon Thomas is thanking his lucky stars that Trubisky went 2 over him because Solomon Thomas and that bus conversation ain't talked about enough. The guy has 9.5 sacks, and he's been in the league for, 6 years now? Going on 6 years?
I'm actually surprised that this website has this guy that high.
At 6, man. He's been underwhelming, to say the least.
Right, he has 128 total tackles.
Pro Football Focus does not have them in their top. He
has 9.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and 2 pass deflections. This was your 3rd overall pick in 2017.
I'm surprised they got him over Linval Joseph. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised they got a couple of these guys over Linval Joseph because Linval Joseph is solid as all hell.
Yeah.
You know?
Of the other, like, let's say, so you couldn't get Akeem Hicks. Who was the other guy on this list you'd like to look at as somebody you'd like your team to sign?
If he plays, BJ Hill was just on the Super Bowl team.
Yeah, he was.
Like, BJ Hill was just on the Super Bowl team. So you got you got to start them because those guys are always the first to go. Like the two teams that went to the Super Bowl, those 2 teams are always the first to get rated because, like, oh, you went to the Super Bowl, you got to be good. You can help my team out.
Well, if it used to be the Raider way. Whoever won the Super Bowl MVP ended up being a Raider. I think there were like 2 Super Bowls in a row where that like the one to win like Desmond Howard was one of the MVPs. He got signed by a crazy deal to the Raiders, and then that corner by the Cowboys won in the Super Bowl MVP that season. He got signed by a crazy deal to the Raiders and never panned out. Moving on from our defensive tackles, we got our edge rushers. We got Chandler Jones, Von Miller, Javion Clowney, Randy Gregory, Harold Landry, Hassan Reddick, Emmanuel Agba, Justin Houston, Jerry Hughes, and Melvin Ingram round out the top 10 when it comes to edge rushers. This is kind of a who's who of pass rushing names when it comes to the free agency class.
Ooh, that top 4, except for Jadeveon Clowney, is nasty.
Jadeveon Clowney, I know he doesn't really get pressure on the quarterback, but the dude is a monster.
You cannot run on Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah. But when I look at edge rushers, I'm like, I love like the first Chandler Jones, Von Miller, and Randy Gregory over him. You know
Like,
what I
Chandler
mean?
Jones got to be having that talk. Chandler Jones got to be having that talk. Von Miller got to be having thoughts about that talk. Jadavion Clown, we just talked about. Randy Gregory, if he could just, there's no telling what his career would be by this point if he didn't self-sabotage. Like, bro,
if he could just stay off the
if
weed.
you could just stay out of trouble.
Stay
Just
off
stay
the
out of trouble.
weed.
And I'm not even going there. I'm not even going that route because the fact
I ain't
that
gonna say right.
the fact that they want to, we can talk about that. That's a whole nother subject till we blew in the face. Like the fact they want to punish these dudes for smoking weed, and that's the healthiest thing for them. Outside, like that's the healthiest thing
Therapeutic.
for them. Right, that's the healthiest.
Well,
thing for them.
you know, you can use it for like arthritis and all types of things. Shit.
Hassan, Harold Landry. I think Harold Landry would be like the sneaky signing free agency.
Wow. I mean, if I'm the Tennessee Titans, there's
not letting him go.
zero chance I'm letting Harold Landry walk out that door. Like, no
I'm
way.
surprised
That dude
Melvin
he's
Ingram
there.
isn't
He's like
higher
their
on this
best.
list.
Who?
I mean, he's getting up there in
surprised-
age.
I'm surprised Melvin Ingram isn't higher on this list, especially the job that he did. You know,
I mean,
coming over to
when you look at
KC.
the names below him, I mean, Charles Harrison, Everson Griffin, Jason Pierre Paul.
All
I
those
mean,
guys are old, man.
I
All
mean,
those guys are old.
Melvin Ingram. I'd rather have Jerry Hughes. I know Jerry Hughes is getting up there. Justin
Jerry
Hughes is
Hose
getting
is
up
good
there.
too.
Manu Agba had a good season. So I think that's,
I think I think with Hassan Reddick, I think the Cardinals didn't know what to do with him.
Well, he's had 2 seasons in a row. He's put up double-digit sacks. 1 season in Arizona, and then they didn't think he could repeat it. And then he went to Carolina, and he did repeat it. So,
but I'm saying like when he first got to Arizona, they didn't know what to do with him because Clemson kind of used him as that not Clemson.
Temple.
Temple kind of used him as that jackknife, that Swiss Army knife on defense, where he lined up at the DB slot, right? He played some linebacker. He rushed off the edge, and like you see that, and it's like, yo, I could do a bunch with that. And then you get him, it's like, damn, I can't do everything I said I could do because the receivers at the NFL level are a little bit faster than they are at college.
Yeah, so when they moved him full time out to outside linebacker, that's when his sack numbers really started to decrease. Also, along with the hiring of Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah. And Justin Houston is 33. He looks so much older than 33.
Yeah, he does look so much older than 33. You're right. He hasn't really produced good sack numbers in a long time.
So the real question about this particular class is Von Miller. Do you think he hangs it up, or do you think he plays another season?
I think he's gonna depend. I think he's gonna base it on how
Aaron Donald.
Not Aaron. Aaron Donald ain't retiring. Come on now. I think he was basing that off. I think Von Miller bases it off of how he feels personally, right? If he could take one more season of the meetings and the practice. Well, can't really say the practice because they don't really practice no way. But like him being on the team that he is, that he's on, 100% help. I think if he was still in Denver, 100% he's done.
I agree with you. I think if he re-signs in LA, I think he'll come back. I think he's anywhere else. I think
Von had a couple sacks in the Super Bowl, didn't he?
Yeah, he had 2 sacks in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 2 sacks in the Super Bowl. I mean, he still got it a little bit. I would say, man, I think he comes back. I think he comes back one more season to see if they can.
The talk of Von Miller being washed came from him being the only guy
in Denver.
Like,
Bradley Chubb got injured right away.
Right. He got hurt right away.
Defensive tackles can never stay healthy.
Yeah, so yeah, I like Von. I think Von could run it back on me. He doesn't have anything to prove. He's a Hall of Famer in my opinion. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings. He's been one of the premier pass rushers since he's gotten.
He's got a Finals MVP. He's one of the rare defensive players to ever win Finals MVP.
He has a Super Bowl MVP, 2-time champ,
a Super MVP, yeah.
A Rookie of the Year, 8-time Pro Bowler, including.
He's got nothing else to prove.
He should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but after DeMarcus Ware, all the bets are off. So who knows anymore?
115 and a half career sacks. Like, if Von Miller says I'm done, hey, bro.
You got nothing to prove, brother.
Yeah,
you got nothing to prove no more.
Moving on from edge rushers, we got our linebackers. Devondre Campbell of the Green Bay Packers. Deontay Hightower. Juwan Bentley. Man, I don't know how to pronounce that that first
Foye
name.
Sade
Oyasada,
Olukun.
Anthony Hickens, Christian Kersey, Kenny Young, Anthony Walker Jr., Reggie Ragland, and Jermaine Carter. Looking at those names of those linebackers that are available, who do you want your team to sign?
I don't even
And
know
who
why
do you
Christian
think?
Kirksey
Who,
is even on the top 10 here. But whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all those guys, man, I'm gonna go with Devondre Campbell, man.
of course you are.
He showed out last season for my Green Bay Packers. I think he's turned the corner. I mean, he was where? He was in Atlanta for first part of his career, right? If I'm not mistaken.
1 second.
And I think he had one good season there, in Atlanta. But he had kind of revitalized his career there in Green Bay. And actually, nobody expected Devondre Campbell to play as good as he did last season. So I think he strikes while the iron's hot, and I think he keeps the momentum going. But I'd like to have him. That guy was your captain on the defense, in my opinion. He was just moving everybody everywhere on that defense. And without Devondre Campbell, I don't know what that Green Bay defense would look like. They'd be like horrible. But he made them modest.
132 tackles, 88 solo, 2 sacks.
Devondre Campbell spent his first 5 seasons in Atlanta. You were right.
5 pass deflections.
He spent 4 seasons in Atlanta, 1 season in Arizona, then recently in Green Bay. Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
No, I was just reading off his numbers. Well, we already know if the Packers' salary cap issues weren't what they are, he's not even on his list, right?
Yeah.
They re-signed him out the gate. It was basically like his 1-year deal with Green Bay was a prove it, do it again deal, right? You had 91 tackles. You had 91 tackles in Arizona, 91 tackles total. You had 61 solo, 2 sacks. That seems like to be like his magic number of sacks.
2 sacks.
2 sacks. I'm good for 2. I'm gonna get you 2. I don't know when, but I'm gonna get you 2.
I don't know when I'm gonna get you 2.
I'm gonna get you 2.
So of the other 10 names on this list from Pro Football Network, they got 11. They got Alec Ogletree, Juwan Brown, Quan Alexander, Kaiser White, Leighton Vander Esch, Jermaine Carter Jr., Keanu Neal, Rashad Evans of the Tennessee Titans, Alex Milani.
Yeah, he's a linebacker now. He
switched over to linebacker.
Okay.
And Anthony Barr. Of those names, of those 10 guys that just listed, the second tier of free agency, who do you want your team to sign? Of those,
there's 3 guys on there. I mean, Anthony Barr, he's low on that list, man. But like, if he's, Anthony Barr is not he ain't no spot. I know he's kind of getting up there in age, though. I know he's probably
Pro Football Focus had Anthony Barr listed as the number 7 rated linebacker on free agency.
Yeah,
7.
Yeah, he's solid, man. Leighton Vander Esch.
And he is now currently 29 years old. He will be 30 in like 20 days.
Well,
Quan Alexander was okay too.
That would be who I would like, kick the tires on.
Yeah, coming off that Achilles tear, played pretty well this season despite all the recovery stuff. I think Rashad Evans is an underrated linebacker in the National Football League. I think he does a good job of making the calls.
That's like the theme in Tennessee, right? They have an underrated safety in Kevin Byard. They have an underrated linebacker in Rashad Evans. They have an underrated pass rusher in Harold Landry. That's like the theme in Tennessee, right? That's the theme. Like that's like that. They are the perfect. All right, keep sleeping on us.
Yeah, that's true.
Keep sleeping on us. I'm still old enough to remember the Leighton Vander Esch is better than Roquan Smith talks. Cowboy fans, I remember that. I ain't forgot that. No Bears fan ever, no football fan ever, really should forget
the fall from grace. The fall from grace for both Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch.
Well, Leighton Vander Esch basically got hurt like every game he played in, like for the last 3 seasons in a row. So
there was potential there. It's like that in Dallas being a really good linebacking core. If those guys would,
that's the thing. That's literally the thing every year with them. They have rosters top to bottom, one of the best. They always come up short. It is what it is. right? So like, go ahead.
And the final category, we got defensive backs. We got Jesse Bates III as a safety, J.C. Jackson cornerback, Tyron Matthews safety, Marcus Williams safety, Carlton Davis cornerback, Stephon Gilmore, Darius Williams are both cornerback, Andre Diggs safety, Casey Hayward cornerback, and then we got Marcus May, the big hitting safety for the New York Jets. Yeah. So who do you like in this list?
Number one, but he ain't going nowhere.
Number one, he's definitely not going nowhere.
Number one ain't going nowhere.
Definitely not going anywhere.
They'd be a fool.
Number three, definitely ain't going nowhere either.
Yeah, I don't see number three going nowhere either.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna make him the highest paid safety in the league. If the Bengals don't do it.
Oh, you talking about Jesse Bates?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they have all the cap. They have a crazy amount of cap room.
They can't afford. Kansas City cannot afford to lose out Tyron Matthews in free agency. He's definitely got to be one of the highest paid.
They cannot.
Yeah, he's the heart and soul of that defense. He's the most consistent part of that defense.
They cannot lose.
I mean, you can make the same argument with Jesse Bates. I mean, that's how valuable he is. And J.C. Jackson, I do kind of sort of expect him to play on a different team next year.
I don't.
If there's somebody on the list that I look at it like
I can't imagine Belichick letting this guy walk because J.C. Jackson was the one who made the guy at number 6 expendable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not, man. I can't see that. I can't see him getting rid of the guy that like that made this this borderline Hall of Fame DB.
I think Stephon Gilmore is a Hall of Famer. He's got a ring. He's got Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay,
yeah, I was gonna say
it's hard. It's hard for me to see him getting rid of the guy that made me get rid of him. I can't see that.
So looking at this list, who do you think is the most likely player to be playing somewhere else next season of these 10 guys?
5.
Yeah, 5 definitely. Carlton.
I mean, 9 for damn sure. I mean, Casey Hayward never stays anywhere more than one season. He's an excellent corner. He's an excellent corner, but he seems to bounce around the league like crazy.
Stephon Gilmore is interesting, man. I think a lot of people have doubted him last year, because he's creeping up there in age. But I think
Gilmore could definitely be playing somewhere else.
Yeah, I think I think Stephon Gilmore's on. He's like on a prove it. Like he's out to prove something next season. Watch out for him.
I think it all depends on. I mean, obviously, it depends on where he goes. Like it depends on where anybody goes, right? If you just go, this is where we see a lot of guys make a mistake.
If I'm Carolina, I think I want to keep Stephon Gilmore around and have him mentor J.C. Horn.
We see a lot of teams and a lot of guys make a mistake in free agency because we see the players make the mistake in free agency because their eyes get big, right? Like they want their payday. And they get their payday, but it's not the team that they go to ain't a good fit for their style of play. Albert Hainsworth to Washington. I'm sorry.
I mean, Deion Sanders to the Redskins at the time. That wasn't a good fit either. Because Deion Sanders was like 80 years old at that point.
Oh, sorry, that was funny. But that still goes down as one of the worst free agency contracts signings ever. Albert Hainsworth to
the $100 million man, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he got paid, but he didn't fit. Like his style of play didn't fit what they wanted to do. So, and we saw that with Nnamdi Asomugha, right? Like he leaves Oakland.
Oakland is one of the best corners of the National Football League, and when he goes to Philadelphia.
And he just laid an egg.
By the end of that tenure in Philly, he was out of the league. He was done.
He's an actor now. He's fine. He's married.
That's what I'm saying.
He's married to Kerry Washington. He's gonna be fine.
So
Nnamdi Asomugha is totally fine with his career outside of football.
I'm not knocking it. More power to you. You feel me? You made your bread.
Kerry Washington. Yeah. And you writing scripts and movies, man.
Again, I'm not.
I think I almost rather do that than play in the National Football League.
Oh, Kerry Washington, my wife.
I think a wild card here is Quandre Diggs. I'm very curious as to where he goes, if he goes anywhere.
Well, he got injured. If you remember, he got injured on the last game of the season. I don't remember what his injury is. Good news on his recovery. So I'm not really totally sure what his injury is. But yeah,
Cornbread Diggs is 29 years old. Oh, he's in Seattle.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't think Seattle lets him. I don't think Seattle lets him go. Like 94 total tackles, 66 solo, no
Does
sack.
New Orleans bring Marcus Williams back?
No, they don't have the money for it.
They don't have the money to do it.
I'm saying that Marcus May. I don't think Marcus May. I think Marcus May's time in New York.
25 years old, man. This guy's one of the better safeties in the league, man. He's so young too, man. Like
Pro Football Focus actually has Marcus Williams as the #1 rated safety over Jesse Bates, over Tyrann Mathieu, over Marcus May. They have Marcus Williams as the #1 guy.
he's gonna get paid.
So of the second tier of corner defensive backs, we got Steven Nelson, Dante Jackson, Bryce Callahan, Jerron Kearse, Xavier Woods, Terrell Edmonds, Levi Wallace, Tracy Walker, DJ Reed, and Desmond King. Of those 10 names, who would you want on your team and why?
Say it again. Say those names again.
Steven Nelson, Dante Jackson, Bryce Callahan, Jerron Kearse, Xavier Woods, Terrell Edmonds, Levi Wallace, Tracy Walker, DJ Reed, and Desmond King.
Terrell Edmonds.
Safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to go Levi Wallace. After Tre'Davious White got hurt, Levi Wallace was basically forced in to be the #1 corner, and he was serviceable. He did his job. Give me Levi Wallace.
I would go. I would go Terrell Edmonds. I wouldn't be surprised if Buffalo tried to reunite the brothers in general. Like you already got Tremaine. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to get Terrell in that secondary.
I tend to agree with you on that. Is there any of those names to pique your interest?
I'm gonna go with the kid from Minnesota, man, Xavier Woods. He had an okay year last. He's still young, 26 years old. He had an okay year with he had a pretty good year. I mean, I had 108 combined tackles last season for the Minnesota Vikings. So he played really well next to Harrison Smith. So he's pretty much a tackling machine. So yeah, give me Xavier Woods.
Kind of had to be.
Yeah, it kind of had to be. I mean,
Right,
nothing on that defense really. Everybody's hurt. But yeah, that's been our 2022 NFL free agency preview. God, I can speak. Thank you very much for joining us. This stream will be shared on Facebook, and I also is going live on the YouTube page. So continue checking us out on both of those platforms. I've been David Huffman. Right there is Mr. Israel Rivera, CEO of Prime Sports World. TJ Hopkins, gentlemen, what we do here at the Prime, my friends.
We bring the heat.
Yes, we do it, man. It's supposed to get cold again here in Chicago, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Brother, we just can't win.
We can't. Continue.
Well, I'm hoping you guys got enough heat in Florida and down south and out west, and y'all bring it here to the Midwest.
Yeah. Boy, we need it. We'll be back here on Thursday. We're going to be doing some fantasy football stuff. Way too early rankings for you guys to dig your teeth into. But yeah, I've been David, TJ.
Better be on the lookout for that, y'all.
We'll see you guys on Thursday. Y'all have a good rest of your day and stay warm.
Stay warm. Peace.